Right, stern of the ship. And to complete the framing for the stern of the ship, you need this piece, which is really thin. And you push out 4 of these from here. And none of this is in the manual, not that I could find. It took me a long while to figure it out. In fact, this piece isn't even mentioned. These items are the tailpiece that fits across the back. Now, when I looked at the hole and I looked at the template, I thought it's not right. And then I looked at these and thought, why are they giving you 4? And you have to work out, basically you have to glue them in a layer, so they form a thicker piece. Now, 4 was too many, but 3 was just right. It's fairly easy. Glue them up, put them in a vise. Then you need to sand these so they fit across here. Oops. And what you end up with is a nice piece. I'll see if I can zoom in a little bit more before it goes out of focus. You end up with this cross piece that goes across here. I'll turn the ship over, tip this up, I might be able to see it a little bit better. There's that section across here. Yeah, right into the light. I'm doing all this by hand, guys, bear with me. It sands up quite nicely, forms a nice solid piece, fits in line with the templates for cutting, and there's a curved line across the top here which you can't see, which is the marked cut point. Turn it back down again so you can see. This is the cut piece from this template when you have it in the jig. As long as that's lined up nicely when you mark it. Anyway, I'll put this back in the berth and we'll start marking the holes. Now, I did say it's easy to take out and remove, just to prove my point. That's it, back in the berth. Now, I continue marking these lines for the cutout, and we'll start the cut. Cheers. Alright, so I've added all of these things. They take longer than the ribs, and are a bit of a pain in the ass. That one's spare because it's a hatch. That one has the pumps, so I've left that area spare. That's a visible, it's another area of a hatch, that's another hatch, that's another hatch. Front bits in the front here, and there's the old cooker. So that one I've left wholly, so you can see through. You can see quite well through the ship. I was quite amazed after you put these on, because there is a fair bit of spacing. But these, I will leave till the very final portion, when I've fitted all the pumps and everything, instead of trying to fit them through and around. It's easy to fit them and then place these around them afterwards. No big deal. Very solid, as I said. Now, I've now got to add the handrails on the side here. This is why you had to put this piece in, because it rests up against it. And once you've done that, we can cut her out. Okay, so the cut lines have been drawn on. Yeah, we'll zoom these in. As you can see, they're varying sizes all over the place. ignoring these bits which are the thing support. Now what I'm going to do is paint everything above the cut line, so it's dead obvious between one and the other. Then on that way I'm not relying on just these black lines. That's only for my edification, given that all that's going to be thrown away. A light coat of paint will not hurt, and it will make identifying where they cut up and down a lot easier. Now, to get this to stand straight, I'll try and explain this. Do it by hand. There is a section that can be easily missed that talks about putting these handrails in. There's only an estimation in the diagram of how they're supposed to go in. Luckily when I lined them up I took the depth and it lines up with the outside cut lines. Now these have to be glued in hard against these guys, which means you use plenty of glue in there. That's to stop when we cut these things from them falling off and falling away, because they are cut really weird. It's the same on both sides. Now the part has these little lugs that are supposed to go in between the holes in the ribs. They don't. Obviously everyone's slightly different, has a slightly different angle, so they definitely don't fit. Anyway, make sure you glue those in before you do any of the cut work. I'll paint it up and show you what it looks like prior to cutting. Then we might do some cutting. I'm not recommending everyone do this, but from my point of view, I've painted all of this black where the black ends. I know that's where I've got to cut, so the black is the piece that's got to be got rid of, and the white's got to be kept. And it's easier than trying to spot lines across here and accidentally cut in the wrong spot. Before I cut it, I'm going to put the templates on for one last time. Make sure they line up so all the black's in the black and the others in the out, and when it's not, when it's ready, I'll be using this guy here, which is part of a Zona multi-blade set. It's the smallest little blade, and I'll be hand cutting them one by one. I was going to use the Dremel, but I figured the safest way to do it is cut and check and cut and check. Now it's not a lot, and then I'll break them off as I need them, and we'll see how we go. Wish me luck. So this section's now been cut out, including the rised up ones. It's a stressful experience doing this. I've still got to level them out. The hardest part is it's easy to cut through these, but when you've got up, down, up, down, up, down, you basically got to cut across the top and then cut down. Now all these up downs are on the double ribs, so these pieces are glued together, so you have to cut through and then break them off and hopefully not damage them. Nothing's come away from the hole so far. It's all, except for that one's a smidgen loose, but that doesn't really matter. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 to cut there. You can see. I'll bring it in for you. They're partially cut, but there's 2 up ones and 4 down ones, and another row of down ones. Now luckily there's enough space here to get this little blade through. I wouldn't be trying to use a Dremel unless it's a very, very small saw, because you're going to cut into those other ribs, and yeah, it's a bit stressful. Anyway, I'll work my way through this side and then through the other side, and I'll get back to you when we've got that far. It's a worry. And that is the most of this side done. I'll finish it off and we'll come back in the next video with a completed version. I hope I've stressed you out enough. Stressed me out enough. Catch you later. And that is the very scary rough cut. There's still sections to be taken off at the end there that are marked in black. I've had to re-glue all that because once you take off this section here it becomes very, very unstable, hence the need for putting these in. I've got to let that glue dry. You can see there's a few more pieces to cut off, but it's a scary job. She's out, she's free, needs cleaning, levelling, it's all crooked. Cuts on this side are straight, cuts on this side crooked as buggery. That needs fixing up again, now it's come loose, so it's been knocked. That's the hole. Now comes the cleaning and the fit out. And now back in its cradle, and the sides removed, so we can continue working on it. It's still nice and solid in that cradle, so the cradle does a mouldable job. Holds it up one way, turns it up the other way, cuts it, and then refits it ready to work. Very, very, very clever layout. Anyway, you can see all the wobbliness, that's all got to be fixed. Cheers.